You have something that you have, the do's and don'ts, and I love what you say. And I'm not saying all of them, but you say don't blame, take responsibility, balance activity with passivity, don't stop living yourself, embrace I'm sorry, don't see reassurance from your estranged. Don't look for reassurance from your estranged. I'm kind of killing some of the things that you wrote so articulately. But one of the things you said is don't blame. What does that mean?
Well, I think that blame is not very constructive. Once we first of all, you and I are not going to agree on who's to blame if we have trouble in our relationship, probably. Yeah. So that's kind of a dead end.
Very good.
It's responsibility is constructive. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people say to me, well, Tina, it sounds like you're blaming the parent for everything. Mm-hmm. Here's this adult child who's behaving terribly toward the parent, and you're blaming the parent. Mm-hmm. But in fact, what I'm saying is, if you are the one who's left behind, if you are the one who's not seeking contact or not available for contact, then it falls on your shoulders to be the one to do the solving. You've kind of lost the luxury of saying, hey, meet me in the middle, because they're not meeting you at all. Yeah. And that's just the harsh reality.
So when somebody says that to you, they say, my kid is not willing to even, communicate. I don't think it's all me. I think mainly it's the kid for whatever reason. What do you say to them? How do they begin to possibly repair if they can't communicate with their kid?
That's a really great question. There may be some work on the adult child's side that they have to do to be ready again to communicate. All we can do on the parent side is to use what we have, the resource we have, which is the parent, to address any underlying problems in the relationship from this end. Mm-hmm. There's so much you can do from your end, just in terms of personal healing, personal growth, developing self-compassion, like we talked about, so that when the adult child, and in most cases there will come a time when they're ready to reach out and have contact, you're ready to.
Right. I find that a lot of times, at least in my work, I see the parent wants more involvement than the adult child. And kind of what I sensed in your writing is that you kind of have to run a little bit with the adult child's time frame as opposed to our time frame that wants to go on vacation every other weekend and spend all this time together. Is that right? That we have to slow it down a bit?
It is. The person who wants less contact is the person who's setting the schedule for contact. I mean, unfortunately, it's like in couples counseling.
Right.
The person who wants less sexual contact is kind of setting the schedule.
No, you're exactly right. For parents, you talk about taking responsibility. Phrase I sometimes use is, you're not defined by your kid's choice. And that's not just for estranged kids, but you're just not defined. But talk about taking responsibility. Take responsibility. What does that mean to take responsibility?
It really is taking responsibility for the idea of this is a problem that I have in my life. I may not be to blame. I may not have done the things that I'm being accused of doing, but this is a problem for me. Yeah. And so it falls on me to figure out how to solve it. What can I bring to the conversation? What can I bring to the situation that will maybe create a shift or possibilities?
Yeah. So when you're in a relationship with your estranged child, and there's the blame and the shame going both ways typically, and well, actually both ways, and then also inward because I'm blaming myself or I'm shaming myself, and so it's going everywhere, every direction. And you say embrace I'm sorry. I love what you talk about with that. What do you mean by that?
Well, there comes a time when a relationship is in trouble. And if I have done sufficient personal work to forgive myself for anything that I regret, and if I've done some healing, I come to a place of sufficient compassion that I can see the ways in which I might have unwittingly and unwillingly hurt my child.
Yeah.
And it's impossible not to hurt your kids. It's just part of life. All kids get hurt by good parents doing all the right things. It's part of it's part of being a child is growing up and learning that you are conditionally acceptable to some degree in society, right? You can't do
So
anything
good.
you want.
I love that. I'm gonna steal that phrase. I'm just telling you, conditionally acceptable is so good. You're right.
Right.
You're right.
And kids are easily shamed. They can't distinguish between my dirty pants and me. I'm a bad
Right.
person
Right.
because my pants are dirty.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how I got onto that, but
Yeah.
I think we are a society.
Yeah.
And
we need to say, and we need, what you're saying is sometimes we lead with "I'm sorry," even though they have issues too.
Exactly.
But how do you say to a child that literally they've got some issues, but there's something you can be sorry for? So how do you say that without, some parents don't want to do that because they go, it's more their problem than ours.
Yes. Well,
so what do you do?
I wouldn't apologize if you don't feel like apologizing. I think that's inauthentic and it's not going to fly.
Mm-hmm.
People can tell, they can feel the honesty.
Yeah.
But many parents I speak with really do get to a point sometimes. I mean, not every parent I think has to apologize.
Right.
I don't think that's a necessary part of healing from estrangement. I think in an online survey, 2/3 of estranged adult children said that they would like an apology. The other third, doesn't matter.
Interesting.
But if you're ready to apologize, then there are very specific ways to do that.
Yeah.
Simply, I'm sorry I did this or didn't do that. Not I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you think I. So the
That's
language
a big difference,
is
by the way. The language is important with your apology. Yeah. Go ahead.
Also, I'm not perfect. That's kind of vague. It doesn't really cover the specificity base. I'm sorry if I did anything that hurt you. Yeah. Well, if you kind of know that someone is holding a grudge or is hurt, then I'm sorry if I hurt you. It takes too little accountability, and it takes a step back and says, oh, did you get hurt? Well, then I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But it's, you want to get to a real understanding of what it was that you did or didn't do, and what was the impact of that.
Yeah.
And once you do that, then you may just feel moved to apologize really well.
Parenting doesn't stop when your child turns 18. If anything, it gets harder and more complicated. When the relationship breaks down, when they walk away from the faith you raised them in, and every conversation feels like a fight, you need more than advice. You need hope. When Your Adult Child Strays, Trading Heartache for Hope is the book I wish every parent had. Find it anywhere books are sold.